The VITURE LUMA ULTRA is for that person who's really into display glasses, someone who has all the accessories, maybe an in-ear pod, and knows what they're doing. The VITURE BEAST is for somebody who is that plug-and-play king, definitely wants to be able to grab and go, something that they can plug into anything, have native 3 degrees of freedom, a nice bright screen, wide field of view. Some would argue too wide, a little bit of distortion on the edges, but this is a great pair of glasses. And today we're actually going to be looking at the VITURE Pro 2, and these glasses starting right now at $299. These are meant to be a little less feature packed than some of these other glasses, but still maintain a lot of that quality and things that people come to VITURE for. They have a super bright display, some adjustability on the temples, forward and back. You see I'm rocking the RayNeo sound tubes as always. I really like the blue tint on the lenses with the orange accents. So let's just jump into the video and we'll talk about them. We'll do an unboxing and we'll get some side-by-side comparisons with their big brothers to see how they are. My name is Connor, this is for the Informal Tech Reviews List. Hey, Editing Connor here. I just realized I didn't do the obligatory sponsor statement, so I did want to let you guys know that this video is sponsored by VITURE. They were able to send this out. I got it a little bit early so I could get to testing it. Unfortunately, we had some stuff go down in the family, so I wasn't able to get this out at the same time all the other reviewers did. But we've had plenty of time to experience it, and we're going to keep it informal as always, so definitely appreciate you guys watching. All right, let's get back to it. All right, moving over to the unboxing of the Pro 2. Gonna go ahead and slide it open, and I really like the way that the glasses change colors on this one. So shout out to VITURE, whoever thought of that. Great job. Once you got it open, there's just some tearaways here on the back that you just pull on, and then you're able to actually slide out the glasses. Once you open it up, there is the Pro 2 data sheet in here, and it talks about how the nose pads are actually adjustable. So there's only 3 in here total. One's on the glasses, the other 2 are there, but you can adjust them and find that perfect position for your eyes, depending on your IPD. You'll have to play with that a little bit to figure it out. The case itself is very nice. I always like the zipper case. I think the word VITURE is gonna disappear when you take it in and out of your backpack a lot. That's happened on a couple of my other VITURE devices. But there's also the usual books and stuff. In here it does talk about specs and information. You've got a 146-inch screen at 120 hertz. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but I don't really like the way that they measure those. You got to know like the exact distance that they're referring to, stuff like that. But go ahead and pause and read that for yourself if you want. We also have the microfiber cloth. I do wish that was a little bit thicker, but the quality feels nice. More books and stuff. This one's the safety. And then, of course, you have your nose pads in here, which we talked about a little bit. There are some replacement cushions on here. Don't really know what the difference in the cushions are, or maybe just an extra pair in case you lose one. Zipper feels really high quality. Pop it open, and these glasses are awesome looking. I really like the orange on here and the blue tint on the lenses. It's interesting they have a little bit of a shininess in the front middle as if it had a camera on it, but there isn't a camera here. No sort of marking for Harman Audio, so they must not have wanted to pay that licensing. We do have some protectant on the eyes and of course your diopters to get your prescription dialed in. If you don't have an astigmatism like I do, I actually have custom lens prescription inserts for the glasses because I do have an astigmatism and the diopter is not great for me personally, but it does have a lens tinter to get that blackout shade look, and so that's something that's super important since there's no adjustable transmittance on these glasses. And of course you got your USB-C cable, which you're going to need to use for actually connecting your devices. All right, moving over to our specs comparison table, we have the LUMA ULTRA, the VITURE BEAST, and the VITURE 2 Pro kind of stacked up against each other, so we can really get a good idea of which VITURE product you would want to get. Now, the winners of the first couple categories are going to be the Beast because the virtual screen size and the field of view are pretty much tied together, right? So the higher field of view is going to have the bigger screen size. But not necessarily the clearest image, so that's something to keep in mind. But you can see that the Beast does win that hands down with the close runner-up of the VITURE LUMA ULTRA, and then the Pro 2 coming in third there. But really turns it around at number 3 with a peak brightness of 1600 nits. Now, there's been a lot of glasses companies that are coming out with different features and different display tech. There's the HDR10s, there's the Dolby Vision, but really I think the king of the display spec is going to be brightness, and that's just my personal opinion. But I really think having a really bright screen is super important, whether you're using it inside, outside, wherever. It needs to feel bright enough to really feel immersive. The refresh rate's going to be the same across the board, 120 hertz. Spatial tracking, that's where we start to kind of see some differentiation. The VITURE Beast has it built in. The LUMA Ultra can do up to 6 degrees of freedom. And when I say the Beast has it built in, it has 3 degrees of freedom built in. The LUMA Ultra has a full 6 degrees of freedom, but does require a companion device to be able to handle some of the computation. And so something like the inner pod is going to be amazing for that. We also have the VITURE Pro 2 over here with 3DOF via the app. So you do have to have, similar to the LUMA Ultra, a device that can read the sensors and be able to sort of interpret those sensors and move the image around. And so the Spacewalker app, maybe with the Ultra adapter if you're on an iPhone, something like that, to be able to get that 3DOF. If you connect it to something like a laptop without downloading Spacewalker, you're not going to be able to have the 3DOF. So it comes back to my work issue where my work laptop can't download any extra software, and so I would not be able to get 3 degrees of freedom on these glasses, natively at least. There are some workarounds that I've been playing with the LUMA Ultra, including having a capture card video out on my laptop to another device like the Pro neckband, but that's for a different video. There is the myopia adjustment on the Beast. That doesn't have any. You have to have the prescription insert. But for the LUMA Ultra and the Pro 2, they do have the diopters, which will work awesome for you if you have a very standard prescription from 0 to -5D on the VITURE Pro 2. But for me, I have an astigmatism, and so I actually need to use the prescription inserts, and so the diopters almost just become extra weight inside the glasses for me, because they're not good enough to get my astigmatism corrected. Now, if you don't have an astigmatism, you have a pretty simple prescription, it's definitely something that's going to be beneficial to you. You won't have to get the extra insert, but one thing to keep in mind is that's adjusting the display image, but it's not actually adjusting the way that you see through the lenses. So everything around you will still kind of be out of focus and unclear unless you're using actual prescription inserts. Now, lens dimming, the Beast wins this one. It's got 9 levels of different lens dimming levels, and the LUMA Ultra has the electrochromic dimming, but it's only, I think, 3 levels. I don't remember for sure off the top of my head, been a little bit since I used those ones. The VITURE Pro 2, as we touched on, does have the piece that goes inside of it to make it completely dark, but it's either completely dark or, you know, what it was before. So like right now I can't see it all, which is great if you're really trying to be immersed in your view. But having it like this, it's sort of taking a step back a little bit to like previous years of glasses. I think the electrochromic dimming is one of those features that I personally didn't think was going to be super necessary, and I thought it was a little bit gimmicky, but the longer I've used it, the more that I've experienced it, the more I've really felt like I've missed it when I moved to other devices. But that might just be me. The audio system is AAC, whatever that means, but it's not Harman on these ones. It feels fine to me. I still use the RayNeo sound tubes to really channel that sound right into my ear. That's going to be the case on any set of display glasses that I use at this point, because you have to either crank it all the way up if you're in a noisy environment and have the audio leakage go to everybody, or just not be able to hear it well, or use headphones or something. So the sound tubes, definitely aiming that straight into my ear. It's a big boost. Another one of those features that I thought was going to be gimmicky, but when I tried it out, I was like, wow, okay, this is legit. They are the lightest. The VITURE Pro 2s are the lightest at 63 grams. And then they kind of win everything else from here. The base price is $299, where you compare to the LUMA Ultras, that's about $600. Or $539 if you use code INFORMALTECH on the VITURE website, and the VITURE Beast is just under $500 with the code. If you do get any accessories for the VITURE Pro 2, definitely use code INFORMALTECH because it does save you 10% site-wide, but they don't have it allowable for the VITURE Pro 2, which I get because they're already very competitive with their pricing. So no shade to VITURE for that, but definitely use code INFORMALTECH and the links in the comment section in the description to support the channel. We really appreciate that. But overall, perfect match. We kind of talked about this before. If you want just pure gaming and max immersion, the VITURE Beast is you all the way. If you're the pro and spatial computing expert and you have all the accessories like the inner pod or the neckband, and you're not worried about having on-built native 3 degrees of freedom, the VITURE LUMA Ultra is really where it's at. But if you're just sort of entering this space and you're not ready to like drop $600 on a set of awesome glasses, then the VITURE Pro 2 really fits into that category, because you have a super crisp, ultra clarity 3.0 display with mega high brightness that can really be seen anywhere. And I think it's great for productivity or gaming, but that 50-degree field of view is going to be a little narrower than everything else. So you're going to feel that when you actually go to use it. So definitely something to consider. But I think that's it for the specs comparison. Let's move over to some through lens display comparisons. For this next part of the test, I'm going to have my Osmo Pocket 3 looking through the lens as best I can with 2x zoom turned on. I'm going to focus on the center part where the waterfall is. You'll understand what I mean when that comes up. All right, so go ahead and lock in your bet for which device is which. Let me know which one looks like it's your favorite. And then we will turn on the names here in just a second, but I want you to take a look at the field of view. I tried to record these all on the same device at the same distance in the same room. So hopefully this is as accurate as possible, but it's really tricky to try and record screens on these things using my Pocket 3. But yeah, what do you think? Now you can see the names. Which device won? Which one did you think would win? All right, that's the VITURE Pro 2s and how they stack up against their brothers. Definitely let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. But I think, for me personally, if I was going to buy a set of display glasses right now, and it's my very first set, and I'm coming into the space, I would not hesitate to pick up a set of these at the price point with the clarity and the brightness. These are really great glasses. Now, if I was going to be honest with myself and know that I'm going to have to come back and get the best of the best because I'm going to get addicted to this type of technology, then I'm going to move over to the VITURE Beast as my intro purchase, because the VITURE Beast has that native 3 degrees of freedom where you can plug it in and keep your stuff in your image wherever you're going. And part of the reason that I really enjoy that is because I can't download third-party software on all my devices, like my work laptop. If you've been following the channel for a while, you already know that, so I'm not going to harp on it too much. But that's definitely something to consider, is what kind of software limitations you have on the devices that you're going to be using. So if you have an Android device you want to plug this into, it's going to be easy because you can just download the Spacewalker app. And if you're using your personal PC, Spacewalker app. But if you have something like a work laptop, you might not be able to download that. Or if you're using an iPhone, there might be some other limitations there. Personally, I don't have an iPhone, but I do have the VITURE XR Adapter Ultra. So if you need something like this, definitely check out. There's going to be a short on the channel, and I might make a video on it if I can get a hold of somebody's iPhone to test it out. But you might need an adapter like this to be able to really take some good use of it. Otherwise, really appreciate you guys watching. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you want to see some more awesome informal tech reviews, hit the subscribe button. We're trying to hit 3,000 subscribers. I think we're 200 away. And if you guys haven't noticed, I'm posting a little bit less frequently right now because I am getting some teeth work done. You can see I got a little bit of a gap in here right now because they're moving my teeth around. And that actually gave me like a black eye, double black eyes, because they had to pull out a tooth that hadn't actually grown in. So if I'm sharing too much right now, we'll definitely talk to you guys later. Until then, my name is Connor. This is where the informal tech reviews live, and we'll see you then. Peace.